Welcome to the Seasons of Singleness podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Tiffany Sneebrose. Seasons of Singleness. Seasons of Singleness.
Hey babes, and welcome back. Listen, your girl needed some time, okay? And I got a little cough. And I'm about to go get checked out right after this. But hey, neither here nor there. Welcome back. Glad to see you. Thank you for rocking with me as I recall these stories. Because recant is not the word. But anyways, yeah, so hold on, I gotta look at my notes. Because I be lying. All right, so doing the things, right? I got my feet wet in Jesus literally in 2020. Went to a service. Because he was just asleep. You want to sit right here, Tank? Okay. So in the midst of me, like, really trying to figure out where to go next, especially coming out of a season where I felt like I was dying. Not how I'm dying right now, but physically, mentally, all that. I felt like I was dying. So when I'm now provided a space where I feel safe, I feel seen, I feel loved, sought after, and all of this is through developing, or my understanding of developing a relationship with Jesus, right? So fast forward 2020, rewind. Sorry. Rewind back to 2020, and I went to service for to ring in the new year, right? So during that time, this is pre-COVID, of course. Like we didn't know what was happening, and went to service. I got baptized. They were doing baptisms right then and there. I got baptized, and I'm walking in this 2020 like, yeah, this is my year. This is the year that I'm really gonna do the things that the Lord asked me to do. I'm gonna be a good steward over the things that I have. This is the year that it's just gonna be, right. And in order for me to stay in that vein, right, I had to, or in that lane, I had to really think about the things, the folks, just everything around why I decide to stay and reside in certain spaces if I'm not called to that space, or why am I here? Like, ain't even no need to make it all spooky. Why? What am I here for? I'm sorry, that class was bothering me. What am I here for? Especially if I'm not having fun, right? Going back to was that season 2 or season 3? I think it was season 3. But anyway, I'm not having a good time. Like my spirit is compromised. That's how I feel. So how do I move forward from spaces, and these are spaces that I occupy and continue to occupy, right? So it's like, how do I move forward from what I've learned currently into what I know now? So y'all know them friends that you was kicking it with, like you just did everything with, and then randomly they just like, fuck it, I'm getting my life together, or they started acting funny. Y'all know the people. Y'all know the people. Because y'all be quick to tell them they acting funny. Well, it was me. I was acting funny. Okay. And I didn't think that I was acting funny. Like, to be completely honest, um, my form of communication is playing devil's advocate, which is crazy, right? As a Christian woman. But no, that is my form of communication. I can definitely see both sides, mainly because I've experienced a little bit of both, so I have empathy for both standings, both understandings, both stances. So it's like, all right, for a person who has been in this space, they've occupied this space, they have been unhappy, they've been shameful, they have been living in sin and just doing all of these things, right? And they finally decide, like, this is no longer serving me. I need to get out of this. So they decide to change gears, and they may be walking with Jesus extra hard, right? Because that's something that they absolutely believe that they need to do in order to get out of this thing. And that's okay. There are some folks who are just like, I'm stuck in this rut and I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. No one has ever been here before to kind of help me out of this thing or understand what it means to even be in this thing. I don't even know to call it a thing, right? So it's like, I'm comfortable here, so I'm gonna stay here, and that's okay too. It's literally for me about knowing. So going back to what I just said, like, some people don't even know to call it a thing. Knowing to call a thing, and being okay with it, because at that point, you know it's a choice. A lot of us make choices unconsciously. I think I said that right, or subconsciously, and we don't know. We're just stuck in patterns because that's what we're used to. That's our norm. That is the thing that makes us feel safe, because I know the outcome that's coming from this. I don't necessarily know the outcome from or what's coming from other adverse experiences. So I get it. But at that point, I was acting funny. Baby, I used to be at the Golden Dragon every fucking week. Every fucking week. And that is a popular bar here in Baltimore for those who don't know. Okay. But yeah, I used to be there every, like, Golden Dragon, just to give you a synopsis, it's not necessarily like a hole in the wall. It's not. Okay. It's a pretty swanky place, or it used to be. They had like the restaurant part, they had the bar part, they sell like an Asian American cuisine. And it's pretty upscale, but it's a bar. It's a bar. Like, fight, shootout, shit be happening. You gotta get checked by security before you go in. Like, it's a bar. So I need you to know. It got so bad to the point where the me and my homegirl used to go all the time, and we think that we be so low key. Like, we be thinking we just sit in the corner. We two cute girls sit in the corner. We laugh, get our drinks, get our food, kiki, ha ha ha, slide off and get the fuck right. But yeah, I don't know. People will always gravitate to energy, and yeah, we just, we them girls. Not too much on us, okay? But no, so yeah, the bartender. This is how we knew that we was there way too motherfucking much. I had braces for like 6, 7 years. It's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But my braces came off. Like, I had to go get them things taken off. The bartender was like, "Oh my God, you got your braces off." I said, "Oh my God, yeah, girl." Like, we just, it was a whole moment. You had to be there. You had to be there. But yeah, and that's how often we were there. Just to give you just a heads up, okay? Just to paint the picture. Paint the picture. I want to say like Bill Nye, but that is not. He does not paint pictures. Fucking science, man, Tiffany. Good God.
Roll sound. Rolling. Sound production, take 2.
Anyway, yeah. So going from coming from an environment where all I did was happy hour, all I did was fight, all I did was fuck, like, to just being like, yeah, girl, no, I really value myself. Like these language, right? I am in a situation where I'm valuing myself. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, or hey, I'm not going out today. I just don't have it in me, whatever, whatever. And it's me saying it to people, especially my best friend, um, who know me. We together all the time. At that time, we were both living in my boyfriend's basement. So you know me. Um, but also to that point, I honestly thought like if we are undergoing something together or enduring something together, when it's time to be pulled out of that thing, my expectation is that folks that are with me are also being pulled out of that thing. If I'm being delivered, you're being delivered too. Like that's my expectation. Crazy as fuck. And it's not to say that parts of me still doesn't have that expectation, but I've learned now, as my spiritual covering would say, you trying to pull people to God or Jesus or whoever, right, that you believe in. You trying to pull people, regardless of where your intent in your heart may be, it's still rape because you're forcing something on them. And listen, as the person who has experienced sexual molestation, I don't want to rape no fucking body. Not a soul. Okay. So it won't be me. And at that time I didn't understand that concept. Now it's different. It's like, okay, cool. I'll invite you to church or I'll invite you to the things that I have going on. And it's up to you on whether or not you want to attend, if you want to change your life or change your decision. Like that is totally up to you. I am not here to handhold. I did not die for your sins. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. I did a lot of the same things that you fucking do. Still do a lot of the things that you fucking do. Um, the difference now in this seat is that I can walk into a situation without judgment. And before I thought that I was doing that, I typically try to live my life without expectations of others because I don't have a lot of expectations. Well, I have a lot of expectations for myself, and that's probably why I don't try to put those expectations on people, because people will let you down with your expectations, right? So it's like trying to live life a little free flowing and allow people space and grace to just be who they are when they come to me in those ways. And that pertains to my friendships. That is same with work. Any of my relationships, it's literally the same. I'm not here to change you. So to understand that because of a decision that I made, my friends and close circle were able to see it most definitely. And while folks will have conversations to say, I don't like the way that you do X, Y, and Z. I don't like how you're showing up in this place. You're not showing up as your best self here. And the list goes on, right? But it's like when you decide to step back, change a few things around, and stop showing up in those spaces, folks will literally be like, you acting funny. What the fuck? I wanted you to get your shit together, but I didn't think that it would come in a form of you cutting me off or in the form of us no longer doing the things. People don't want that shit. They don't want that shit. They want you to be better, but they don't want you, not necessarily they don't want you to be better than them. There are some folks who are like that, but once you start acting or once you start moving different, which in the form means that you are now moving differently than what they know you to do, people have a problem. A whole fucking problem. Okay? And I've experienced it from close friends, from close family. Like, people will have an issue. And I do understand that part of that, right, is equated to the fact that people see you. Like, People are limited to what they know. They're limited to what they see. And a lot of times people will hold you to a place that you just no longer reside in. And two, it is up to you to be very consistent. If you say, I no longer want to be a drinker, I no longer want to be a smoker, but you at Thanksgiving with the cousins doing a cousin walk, they're gonna be like, oh, I knew you was lying. Like I knew you was coming back to the shit, like whatever. Like be consistent in exactly who it is that you want to be. If this is how you want to present yourself in the world, do that consistently. You cannot just show up and be like, oh hey, I'm done. I'm done with that. And then be still trying to occupy same spaces. Literally, I know from experience that was me. So for me, it was like, all right, not only do I have to, this is what I've learned. Fast forward now. What I've learned is not only it's not enough to say, I want to be different. I also have to do different. And I have to consistently do different. I have to consistently put myself out there. I have to consistently show up as the person that I'm telling people that I am. I have to consistently die off the old me or kill off the old habits because they will hold me in a place, and I cannot be accountable to other people. I have to be accountable to myself because there are people who are going to see me for who I was anyway, regardless of how I show up, regardless of how I don't do this. If I stop cursing today or tomorrow, people are still going to know me for cussing. So it's like, okay, cool. I can only show you who I am. I can only be who I am. And as people, we evolve daily. And if you aren't evolving, that is the part. Like, that's the point where you're just like, all right, I need to figure out life because what the fuck? I haven't moved. And for me, that was my stance. Like, I haven't moved. I'm looking at the trajectory of my life and it's not going anywhere. Life became so repetitive and I was like, I'm tired of this shit. So for me, like, yeah, I had to get back to my roots. As I stated before, like, I got to get back because this isn't working. What I've done on my own isn't working. I literally need help. And at that time, I did not know what that source was, but I knew I had to get back to it because it wasn't working. And regardless, I'm talking to anybody who finds themselves in the middle of a season where you're just like, this isn't working and I have to do different and I have to show up differently. I know the holidays are coming around. So like showing up differently kind of means diminishing certain parts of yourself or not being yourself fully. And I urge you to not dim your light in this season, to not give a fuck about what people have to say about change. None of that. If it's you changing for the better, fuck what they got to say. A lot of those people ain't even meant to move forward with you any motherfucking way, if I'm being completely honest. And that's okay. That's okay. I am not one of those people who are just like saying the buzzwords all the time, like cut people off, cut the ties. Like, nah. Things that aren't called to you will fall off eventually without you even having to do a thing. But you're moving in the way that you're supposed to move will literally eliminate the things that you want to get rid of anyway. That excess baggage is going to be cleared any motherfucking way just by you being obedient. It's the one thing that I've learned in this season specifically. Just from obedience alone. Shit falls off. I talk about, like, I do cuss a lot and I want to stop cussing and how God is still using me even in the midst of my curse words, right? And folks have kind of one track mind as it pertains to that. So I understand that and I'm okay. You just, when he's ready for me to stop, maybe that thing will be gone. And I know that sounds crazy as hell. It's not an excuse. Don't hear that and be like, girl, she's just excusing herself. It's not an excuse at all. Literally through the move of obedience, through the act and the willingness of obedience, for you to actually listen yearn and hear God speak. When you do, he wants you, not perfection. So all of the things that you feel make you unworthy, and this went totally left, but all of the things that you feel make you feel unworthy and unfit to be in the presence of God or to be around godly people or godly company. God isn't judging you. Why are you judging you? Why are you allowing people to judge you? Fuck them people.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck them people. And move on accordingly to what he told you to do, and you'll be fine. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. That's my tidbit for today. Don't say I never gave you nothing. But yeah, I've in that season I realized like even with the loss of friendships and folks just saying that I was acting a certain way, and while yes, I realized that I can be very judgmental. Your girl is fucking judgmental as fuck. That is a character trait of mine. Where if I don't have a basic understanding of something, I'm judging it a little bit. Or if it don't look like what I'm expecting it to look like, I judge it. That's a human flaw, right? So that happens. And I can come off a little snooty sometimes, even in the midst of me trying to be intentional, or my intent may not be bad. It may be pure, but it may be poorly executed, right? So it's like, in my I don't give a fuck attitude is never effective. There's so many layers, like Shrek. Not onions, onion layers.
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs.
No. Layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
Too much. Anyway, but yeah, I came across as snooty as fuck. So people were turned off by that. While I'm in a position of trying to pull people to God, like I stated before, if we're in the same situation, I want you to be healed, whole, restored, and all that good stuff too. But if I'm not presenting myself in a way that is digestible to you, number one, the fuck? Like, what's happening? I'm causing more harm than I am.
2 hours later.
Causing more harm than I am. I don't know. Then the outcome. I'm trying to make it sound cute. I don't fucking know what I'm saying. But yeah, that, and again too, understanding that people's perceptions of you are just going to be their perception. Sometimes they may never change, and that's okay. I realized recently that my friends, while I try my best to really exude the love and understanding of God through my relationship with him and the things that I put myself through, endure, like things that I go through, things that I triumph from, there are people in my life who may never see God through me. And that is okay. I have to be okay with it. I got to be okay with it based off of how I've presented myself before, based off of what their perception is. And that's okay. Saying that to say to anyone who finds themselves in that situation too, you are not the person that's supposed to save them. And that's okay. Continue to show up in the way that you need to show up for yourself. You are only accountable to you. That's it. That's all. You want different people? Shit.
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
You want different people? You got to do different. And 2020, that was the year of difference.